Welcome to my talk, Adding Static Type Hints to Fiona. My name is Stefan. I work for EOX. We deal with satellite data processing and satellite data visualization. The company is based in Vienna, Austria. We use Fiona in data import pipelines, data export pipelines. Static type annotations for Python were introduced in Python version 3.5, which was released 8 years ago. The type annotations gained widespread traction in the Python ecosystem, but not so much yet in the geospatial part of the Python ecosystem. So the idea is to find errors in your Python code before actually running the code. So by static analysis and comparing the types that you use in the code, you are notified about errors that might occur when you run the code later. A year ago, discussions started in the Fiona issue tracker about adding type annotations to the Fiona codebase. And the vision was to add type hints as sidecar files, so-called type stub files, to the stable version, the current stable version 1.9 of Fiona, and then later inline these type annotations into the code base in version 2.0. I would like to note that this does not change any runtime behavior of the code. So this is purely for static analysis before running the code itself. The approach of adding type annotations to the Fiona codebase was first to use a tool that auto-generates static types from the codebase that is already there. There are some tools that do static analysis, but we found one tool called MonkeyType by Instagram, which does runtime analysis of the code. So it runs the code, it compares all the types, all the objects that are used in the Python code, and then generates type annotation files from that. And it was much more reliable than the static analysis that other tools do. We used the PyTest test suite for that. So MonkeyType runs the tests of Fiona and then finds out the object types that are used in the code. We configured MyPy to actually use these type annotation files, and MyPy found about 100 errors that could not be inferred by MonkeyType itself. So we went through the whole list manually and fixed those errors and added types here and there that MonkeyType could not infer. And the goal was to add stricter types to the public API of Fiona, for example, the write records method. And this is where we're currently a bit stuck, because there's one problem in that write records and the public API accepts objects that are like a GeoJSON or that confer to the geo interface dunder methods of Python objects. We tried two approaches. One was to use the type_dict class, but a GeoJSON allows any keys inside of the object. So there has to be a type key, which could be point or could be polygon, and then there has to be a coordinates key. For a point, the coordinates value is always a tuple of two numbers, for example. But the type_dict class in Python does not allow extra keys, so we cannot add any keys, for example, that a GeoJSON might have. The second approach was to use a protocol class with overloads for the getItem dunder methods. So we tried to mimic a dictionary in Python. We found that it cannot type overload literal types. So I cannot make an overload for the type point and then have another value for the type polygon. We could not make a fix for that. So this is where we're currently stuck, and if you have any ideas for other approaches, I would be very interested in that. So you can approach me after the session or just write in the GitHub issue tracker of Fiona and share your ideas, please. Thank you for listening.